The Strong Style Podcast, the revolutionary force in podcast entertainment.
Good evening. You're listening to a Strong Style Podcast. This is James.
And this is Todd.
And we have a special guest with us, our buddy Brandon.
This is Brandon.
Hello, Brandon.
Hello, Brandon.
Hello, guys. How are you guys doing?
Wonderful. Delightful.
Splendid.
Splendid. We're going to be going over our top all-time favorite theme songs. And afterwards, we'll pretty much do a rundown of, like, honorable mentions and all the fun stuff that, you know, got us going as a kid.
Oh, yeah. Overall theme songs that we just like. We might even mention some that we dislike.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot to dislike.
There's a lot of goofy shit.
Yeah, I really think that the theme songs, you know, when we were a kid, it provided an extra element to a match. It helped you get started with a character. You might not know who the character is. Someone like an Ultimate Warrior. This is the theme song that really got you going and into the character. And I really think that I think we're going to have fun with this list. I'm eager to see how many we have in common.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. The Ultimate Warrior wouldn't be shit without his fucking entrance music.
Yeah, and that was about 90% of his gimmick.
Yeah, pretty much. He's fucking terrible. Anyway, Todd, this is pretty much your baby. You want to kick it off?
Sure. I got coming in at number 10. I got, it's a WWF theme song. It's a lot of Jim Johnson on my list, by the way. And it's Vader Time by Vader.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty dope one. It definitely fit his character.
Yeah, I thought that, you know, this was it always got me going, like, you know, it kind of started off the custom theme where, you know, it was the guy,
Yeah.
you know, saying his catchphrase or whatever incorporated into the song. Like, once you heard it, you knew that Vader was coming out, you know.
That's true. I never really stopped to think about that, you know, once you heard that. It's time, it's Vader time.
Do you think that song fit his character more than his WCW theme song?
Yeah, his WCW theme song had more of a menace type of villain type of deal. His WWF was definitely more rock and roll and more like it's time to smash shit type of deal, and that's exactly what Vader was. I mean,
Right.
He was a wrecking ball, so yeah, I think it fit him just a little bit better than. Although I don't have a problem with his WCW, it just, you know, not as recognizable.
It's not as heavy.
No, it's not as heavy. Like I said, it's more of a, you know, it sounds more like a Star Wars villain entering the room than
Yeah.
a big monster, you
I
know.
can see that.
My list is actually more newer songs. My number 10 is actually WWE's Aleister Black,
Okay.
Roots of Evil. It's done by Code Orange, which is a fucking phenomenal band. I don't know if anybody out there has ever listened to them, but their albums fucking slap hard. And I thought it fit his character a lot better than his AEW music. I can't remember the fucking death metal band that he got to do it, but it's not as good. It's not as, like, catchy.
Yeah.
I thought it fit his WWE entrance a lot. It's not really, like, my top favorite wrestler, but the music is just fucking on point.
Oh, yeah, it definitely fit him. Definitely.
Do you maybe want to preface to the audience that we are using songs that were written for wrestlers, not wrestlers that used songs that came out previously as a single?
Yeah, we're not going to be using, like, pretty much anything in ECW we're not going to be using because, you know, what Rob Van Dam used Walk, but it was covered by Motorhead. Sandman entrance was covered by Motorhead.
Yeah, Walk was by Kilgore.
Kilgore, yeah.
Which was previously done by Pantera.
Fucking the Eliminators were White Zombie?
Or
was that
that was Lance Storm.
Lance Storm. White Zombie.
Just Incredible had one that I've heard on the radio before. I can't remember. Snap Your Fingers, Snap Your Neck.
New Jack, of course, came out. To
Natural Born Killers. Tommy Dreamer.
Man in the Box.
Man in the Box by Alice in Chains.
Yeah, but somebody covered it, though.
No, it was Alice.
That was Alice?
That was
Okay.
Alice.
But we will have, like, if it was like an actual song but cut up and edited different, like DDP's Self High Five.
Yeah, that one was good. Raven and
Raven.
He had Nirvana.
No, wasn't it Even Flow?
No, Even Flow was Chris Jericho.
Even Flow was Chris Jericho. My
Raven
bad.
had Nirvana. Come As You Are, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be using those, but if it was an actual song and then they just got another band to cover, we're not going to be doing that one. So what's your number 10, Brandon?
My number 10 is the theme song for The Rocket, Owen Hart.
Oh, that's awesome.
I picked that one because not only is he one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, I thought that it fit the character, that kind of a tweener where he could use it as a face and use it as a heel. It had that really cool, like a kick drum opening, and then it had that synthesizer that went into it.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, was it the boom, boom,
yeah, that song. Yeah, when I was a kid, like, even though he was a heel, I loved that song. And when you're a kid, you really don't cheer for heels. You cheer for the good guys, like Hulk Hogan. But it's like that song made me like him as a performer, and seeing him in the ring, especially against another good wrestler like Brett.
Right.
You grow to love a guy like that. But that song has always stuck with me. Every wrestling playlist I ever make always has that song on there.
Oh yeah, that's definitely fits the character to the T.
Yeah, that was a good one. It was one of those things where it's like, it's not really a heel entrance, but it's kind of like, everybody knows this guy's a heel except for the guy. He's like, no, I'm the good guy. Everybody else sucks.
Yeah.
So that was a good one. Well, coming in at my number 9 is one that we've heard countless times, and that's Real American by Hulk Hogan, brother.
Iconic theme song.
Yeah, man. I mean, that is, to me, that is the theme song that I think of when you say, think of a wrestling theme song. That one, like, immediately pops in my head. Not necessarily my favorite, but that's like the quintessential, it's like the top one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, with that one, I love the fact, like, as soon as you hear it, you automatically want to start doing, the ear and the fucking poses, and I think it's very fitting to the character. Now, was that made for Hulk, or was that...
I don't know.
I don't really know the backstory behind that song.
Well,
Hulk Hogan collaborated on that song. He had some influence on it. I forget the guy who actually wrote the song.
Yeah.
But I do know that song originally, I think, was written for a movie, and they kind of when they started the Hulkamania gimmick, I think that they kind of looked at it and adopted it for him.
I mean, that kind of makes sense. It definitely fits him to a T.
Rick Derringer. Yeah,
Rick Derringer. Oh, yeah, Rick Derringer. That's right. I fucking forgot.
Yeah, and I still remember the, back in those days, entrance videos wasn't as big as they are today, but I still remember Hogan playing that fucking American guitar, doing this shit.
Yeah, the one that wasn't plugged in.
Yeah, the one that wasn't plugged in.
And he didn't have, like, his fingers on any of the fucking chords or anything like that.
Are we sure that the guitar actually had strings on it?
Honestly, I don't know. I feel like in my memory, it's no strings on the guitar. It's just the fucking guitar, and he's just strumming away.
But think about how genius it was when they came out with that theme song. Think about how many wrestlers at that time still came to the ring with no music whatsoever.
Yeah, that's true.
That song helped get him over because the crowd erupted when they heard that. Because, like 5 guys on the card actually have music?
Yeah, pretty much. You had Sergeant Slaughter had his, the national, was it the national anthem? Or
no, he used like a drum roll kind of thing where it's like a military drum roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, anyway, he had, like, music. Macho had music?
Macho had music. There's a couple tag teams had music.
I think Piper had the bagpipes.
Yeah.
But those were like the only distinctive ones that you could
point
out.
Well, I'll jump into my number 9, which I'm pretty sure it might be on y'all's list, but it was hard finding a spot for this. And that'd be the 90s Horseman theme. You know, the one in has a slow start to it, but that was probably the best adaptation of it. I think the later one that had like the horses and like the drum beat was like what a like WWE version, or is it like WCW?
No, it was still WCW.
Yeah.
It was just
It was towards the end of the company when they were using that one. Yeah.
And for some reason, that seems to be the one that I think WWE owns or sticks to.
yeah.
I think WCW started using that one. Remember when they did that that tribute to Flair and the guys came out in the tuxedos and stuff?
Yeah.
I think that was one of the last nights that they used that old theme, and then they went with the horse galloping theme.
Right.
Yeah, the horse galloping pretty much came when Dean Malenko came aboard, and it was Malenko, McMichaels, Benoit, and Flair, and Anderson had pretty much retired to the outside.
Which that adaptation of the Four Horsemen gets a lot of shit, but it's I fell in love with that version of the Horsemen as a kid. I mean,
Yeah, well, you know,
Mongo.
yeah, you know, Mongo was Mongo. He was never going to wow us, but
Yeah, every version of the Horseman has a quote-unquote bad horseman.
Yeah.
You know, Paul
Yeah.
Roma.
Yeah,
But,
definitely fucking Paul Roma.
yeah,
God.
Malenko and Benoit were a pretty good tag team. Of course, they tagged up.
I mean, god damn it, he tried.
Yeah, well, you know,
Better than a fucking Kali. I mean, Jesus Christ, Mongo's not no fucking technician, but shit. He gave the old college try.
well, he was a pretty good bad guy. About he knew how to like. All he had to do was go to a town and just say the Bears are number one and your team sucks. That's all he had to do.
Yeah, and then when you're in Chicago, be like, I should have played for the Packers. Boo.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool.
What's your number 9, Bernie?
My number 9 actually belongs to Mr. Perfect.
That's a goodie.
You hear that song, again, it's another one of those tweener guys. It fit him as a heel, it fit him as a face, and it's classic. You didn't know as a kid whether you wanted to cheer him or boo him, but you heard that song, you knew exactly who was coming out, and I think it just fit him to a T, especially when they started doing the video packages and it showed him like making the backwards basketball shot, like throwing like 3 bullseyes in a row.
Yeah.
And it fit him perfectly. And yeah, it wasn't like some great like banger rock song or anything like that. It sounded more like classical music. But
Yeah.
I heard that song when I was a kid and loved it and still love it to this day.
Yeah, every time it plays and I hear it, I think perfection. So
Yeah. literally.
this is what perfection looks like. So
Right. Number 8.
all right, going back to my number 8, and we talked about this earlier, how WCW never really had those distinctive songs like WWF had.
Yeah.
But there was a time period in the early 90s where quite a few people had specific songs for them, and my number 8 is Sting, Man Called Sting. Most people that's listening to this knows that Sting's my favorite wrestler of all time. So I had to put his theme song on there because as a kid, this was like my jam, And I knew, like when I heard that he was coming out and he was going to beat the shit out of Ric Flair or somebody,
Yeah.
And that's what appealed to me when I was watching it as a kid. So,
And that's another one I think that if you listen to it, it sounds like a surfer song, and he was Surfer Sting back in the day.
Yeah, the whole flat top.
Yeah, it sounded like a surfer song. I think it fit his character perfectly.
Oh yeah, number 8. Mine's gonna be a little different. It's Stone Cold's theme song, but it's the Disturbed version from Forcible Entry.
Interesting.
the bad guy.
The bad guy.
The Alliance.
I fucking love that song.
Boo.
I don't give a fuck.
Did he ever come out to the ring?
I think once
that?
or twice, from what I remember. I think it was at a pay-per-view or something.
No, he used it. Like when he went straight heel with
Did
the
he?
Alliance,
Yeah.
he used it, but only for a couple weeks. Well, okay, let me backtrack. There was an instrumental version of this, okay, that he used, and it was like, it was like that.
Yeah.
But then a couple weeks later, it was they switched to the Disturbed one, and he kind of played that out until he came back. I think he used it until he came back, because he left the company at one point, and then he came back and he had that one match with Eric Bischoff, and then the match with The Rock, and he just kind of retired. And I think he got his regular theme back for those two matches. But right before he left, though, it was the Disturbed one.
Yeah, I fucking love that album, just in general.
The Forcible Entry.
Yes, that was my favorite WWF album.
Speaking of Stone Cold, I saw a meme today that every time The Rock is at home and his wife drops a glass on the floor, he shits his pants. He hears the glass break.
That's a good one. That's funny. What's your number 8?
My number 8 is the original Mankind theme.
Ooh.
Back in 1996. I'm talking about the theme that would be used when you see him in the boiler room. The one he used when he
has like the orchestra and
right. Yeah. That song really stuck with me as a kid. It's like I heard that and I got really creeped out. I mean, obviously I knew who was under the mask. Everyone knew that was Cactus Jack, but the way that he was able to play the character with that music in the background, it was eerily similar to when The Undertaker first debuted and you heard that funeral music.
Yeah.
And then the crowd, every kid in the crowd, the camera would go to him and all the kids would be scared out of their mind. You see some kids even start to cry. It's like that music to me, the Mankind music, is like showing him like pulling his hair out, stuff like that. I really feel like that music helped to develop his character.
Oh, I totally agree with that. Like, when I hear that music, I still think of that image of, like, him pulling out his hair, like you said, and playing with his fucking rat in the boiler room. Just a slow, like, creepy, like, walk and just fit him to a T.
Yeah, and then at the end, when it changed, it had, like, a tone change, and it went to, like, more of a really lighthearted piano, almost like he sees the light of day and he's gotten over his depression. It's like if you listen to it to the end, it totally changes tone at the end.
Yeah, it's definitely a really good song.
Yeah, and a little background, when they brought in Mankind, they wanted him to do like this Hannibal Lecter type of gimmick.
Right.
And they already had that music for him. It was one of the few things they did not have to change because it fit perfectly with, what he became, and yeah, like now that you know that and you think about it, you're like, I definitely can see Hannibal Lecter coming out to that music.
And let's give some credit to Mick Foley. How many guys could play 3 characters simultaneously with 3 complete different personalities and pull it off and get all 3 of them cheered and all 3 of them booed?
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of guys with that much actual talent to do that.
Yeah, and he got over with pretty much every crowd he was with, because of his dedication, because of they knew that when Mick Foley came out, he was going to bust his ass, whether he was going to take the bumps or, whatever the case may be. And even if they didn't, like, cheer him at first, he would win them over with his ability, because they knew, like nobody on the card is going to do what he's going to do right now. So, yeah, we definitely got to give him credit.
I love his Cactus Jack theme. Oh, my God.
It's great.
It fits the character to a T.
My number 7, again, comes from that time period of the Sting, and it's simply Ravishing Rick Rude.
You can't see it, but he has a Ravishing Rick Rude hat that he got for Christmas like 2 Christmases ago.
Yeah, I don't never wear it. I just break it out for this special occasion. But again, comparing, this is one of those times where his WWF music was actually generic, and his WCW music was fit for him.
I absolutely
agree. And
yeah, same.
This is one time it switched around. And I mean, this is a full blown song. I mean, you can go to YouTube and listen to it. It's like 5 minutes long.
Yeah, it's fucking like it's a full length song. It's not just like 2 or 3 minutes, just long enough to get your ass to the ring.
And it fits him so well. I mean, it's lines in the song. He'll steal your girl and leave you looking like a fool and all this other stuff. And it's like, I can close my eyes and see like a little video package of Rick Rude while this music plays.
You know what I always found weird about Rick Rude is when he was in WWF and like just starting his like mid card run like for the IC title, he was only in his 20s and he looked like he was 47 years old. He always looked way older than he was.
Yeah.
And it's like think about like a 27-year-old now. Some of them look like they're 13. But he looked like a grown man that had been smoking cigars for 30 years.
Well, when did he die? It was like 99, 2000-ish.
Yeah.
When he died.
Yeah.
He was only like 42, 43 years old.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. He always looked that old. Like
Yeah.
from the time
Yeah.
you first saw him. But I think the mullet and the mustache kind of made him look older than he was.
Well, everybody back then looked like men compared to wrestlers today.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, Darby Allin. I love
Yeah.
the kid, but goddamn, he looks
Yeah,
emaciated.
Well, same thing with Luke Perry's son. What's his name?
Jungle Boy.
Yeah, him. He looks like he's in like the 10th grade.
Yeah, he's about the height of a 10th grader too. I mean, honestly.
Dominic Mysterio is one of them, but to his
At least
credit,
he's fucking tall.
Yeah, he's tall, but he really is young.
I guess his
Yeah.
mom fucked the milkman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, definitely no kid of Ray Ray. My number 7's gonna be Mr. DDP himself, Self High Five from WCW.
Bang.
90s. Bang. Bang. I mean, as soon as you hear, the intro, Self High Five, I mean, you know who it is, and then the mix up with what, Nirvana?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smells like Teen Spirit.
Yeah, it just fit him very well. Being a Nirvana fan myself, I always loved that entrance. Any type of rock mashup or melody, I'm always down for.
My number 7 is Sting's Crow theme.
Oh, that's a good one.
Hearing that for the first time, I'm not talking about the one that kind of bleeds into the Metallica Seek and Destroy. Obviously, can't put that on the list, but that theme song was, to me, one of the most iconic theme songs in the history of WCW. Just imagine a guy who's been in the rafters for 15 months, total character change, brand new song,
Yeah.
and you hear it with the lightning effects, you see him coming out with the black and white, and it just, the drums in that song were great, and again, I keep going back to this but a song that fits the character to a T.
Even the intro video was fucking amazing.
And it's one of those songs that it didn't need lyrics. Like just the music itself with the character, the lights going out, the lightning, everything fit, and that was one of those songs that's like when a heel reacted to it, when that song came on and a heel reacted to it, it was just, it's just one of those things that just blows everybody away.
Yeah, a lot of people shit on Hogan, but, his reaction to Sting and his theme song, like, pretty much sold it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he was, like, deathly afraid of him. Love or hate Hogan, he did his job very well for the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
Hogan gets a lot of hate for not wanting to put guys over, even if it's putting guys over in promos or what have you. But when Hogan saw money in it, he would put somebody over.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Piece of shit.
And it it sounded exactly like what he was, which was a vigilante.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, could this be transferred into like a TV show or a movie and be used? And I'm like, yeah. Like, Sting could be a real life superhero, and that could be his theme. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah, that's a good way to look
And
at that.
think about that whole gimmick with the Crow thing. That was Scott Hall's idea. Him turning into the Crow.
Right.
That was Scott Hall's idea. Now Scott Hall was so selfless that he thought about that and gave that idea to him and put him basically over as the number one guy in the company.
There's no way that'll work with Scott Hall.
No, I'm not saying that the gimmick would have worked on him, but giving that idea
to Sting
to make him the number one guy. You know, when a lot of guys would look at someone like a Scott Hall or a Kevin Nash and say, "Oh, they were only out for themselves," but that couldn't be farther from the truth.
Right.
Yeah. Well, my number 6, I guess that's where we're at.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, mine is the straight up Austin music. I think it's called I Won't Do What You Tell Me To. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
It's just the glass and the dun 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 dun. Just that. Yeah, you want to talk about iconic, and you want to talk about from the moment the glass shatters, the crowd is erupting. Perfect theme song. I mean, he's a Texas rattlesnake, all the nicknames that come up. But when you hear that glass, you know it's time for some ass to be whooped.
The cool thing about that is, was it Jim Johnson that wrote that? He, Stone Cold, I think gave him a list of band names, and he heard, I think, Rage Against the Machine, Bullets on Parade.
Well, it was that song, and he heard the intro to Blind from Korn.
Okay.
And it was kind of a mashup of both of them. That's what I was getting ready to say.
Yeah.
I know that Blind had an influence on it.
Yeah, I know fucking Rage had a influence on it too, and then, he wrote his parts, and then next thing you know, put the glass in it, and actually I think the first rendition of it didn't have the glass in it. It was just dun 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 dun.
Well, it had the glass, but it was faded into the black background, right? So it was like, dun, 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 and then they redone it to where it was, dun, dun, And once they did that, it was like that. That was it right there. Like once people heard that, it was like he's coming to whoop somebody's ass.
Yeah,
definitely. I think if you were to make a list of just not a personal favorite list, but of like iconic theme songs of all time, I don't see how anybody could not have that in their top 5.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, if you grew up a fan of the Attitude Era, much like Real American was to the Golden Era, that's what I consider Austin's to the Attitude Era.
Right. Mine is kind of a controversial one. It's Evil Doink. No, I'm fucking with you. It's Chris Benoit, but it's the forcible entry from the cover Our Lady Peace.
Great song.
Redone the song and put lyrics and stuff to it.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking amazing cover, and made it heavier. Believe it or not, Our Lady Peace made the song heavier, and it just fit Chris Benoit's character to a T. Like as soon as you hear, the beginning riff, shit's about to be on, and it just fit his character very well. Love him or hate him, he's still one of my all-time favorite professional wrestlers, despite the horrible tragedy that ensued at the end of his life. But that his entrance music in WWF, WWE, whatever, just fit him to a T. I think a lot better than his WCW music ever did, just personally.
Yeah, I agree. My number 6 is one that has already been mentioned, and it's Real American, Hulk Hogan.
I didn't put Real American in my top 10.
Well, I put it on my list because every single kid our age was a Hulk Hogan mark when they were little, and I feel like that was one of those things that made your heart swell up almost a little bit when you heard that as a kid. You see him conquer the bad guy, and you hear the song, and it was way too many kids' first introduction to professional wrestling.
I can understand that.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that, like you said, you knew that the hero was coming to kill the villain.
Right.
The problem with that is WWF didn't realize that those kids grew up sometime.
Right.
And after a while, it got old.
I will say, though,
Yeah.
I think that the WWF made one mistake with that song. I really feel like maybe kind of like for special occasions, like you know how like Finn Balor, he's the demon for special occasions and stuff like that, right?
Right.
I feel like they could have used that song, but you know how the actual intro to that song, it has that I am a real American in that really low voice and it leads
Yeah.
into it? I think they should have used that.
Yeah, that would have been cool for a special occasion, like have the lights go out and have that.
Exactly.
I am a-
Yeah.
Imagine if that would have came on like at WrestleMania 3 when he's going against Andre or something like that. They just
Yeah.
shut the lights out.
That would have been really cool.
That would have been great.
Jim Cornette would definitely be against the lights going out. He fucking hates that shit.
Who cares about Jim Cornette and his
Yeah.
opinion?
Well,
I like him. He's a grumpy old bastard.
He's a grumpy old Democrat.
Number 5 on my list, another WWF trademark. It's Heart Attack by Bret Hart.
I figured that was going to be on your list at some
Now,
point.
not to be confused with the early Heart Foundation music where it's just the dun 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 dun. This is the actual, again, going back to the glass shattering, going back to the, this is the guitar squealing, with the Bret Hart. This fit him so well, the pink and black. I can just imagine him coming out now with the fucking fireworks going off in the background and the purple lights going, and he's got the jacket halfway down his fucking shoulders and doing the whole thing. Fit to a T. And, I've always been a Bret Hart mark, so I've always liked his music.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It definitely fit his character. I mean, as soon as you hear that beginning, like, guitar, like, scratch, like, it's Bret Hart. My number 5 is the NWO Hulk Hogan, or Hollywood Hogan, intro. The Jimi Hendrix mesh-up melody. Because it's not really the Jimi Hendrix full song. They cut it up. Even the lyrics in it, I think it actually jumps to the second verse of the song. And anyway, it just really fucking fit the character. Like, I can't hear that song now and not think Hollywood Hogan.
Can you hear that song and not actually use a replica belt as a guitar? I don't think it's possible.
I don't think it's possible, no. Even like now, and I'm sitting there doing what Hulk did, open his hand and like chop it down with the edge of my hand, and then doing the For Life. I mean, it's just it's Hulk Hogan. Like before, it was Jimi Hendrix, but now it's like I think nothing but Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, and I think it was interesting that he was the leader of the NWO, so the NWO music was so cool. How you're going to top that? And then you bring in Hendrix with the fucking mean guitar. Yeah. So, I mean, I thought it was good to set him aside. Like, everybody knows he's the leader, but this lets you know that he's special. He's on the different level, you know what I mean? So,
like, that when you hear that music, you're getting him.
Right.
With the NWO music, you're you might be getting fucking one of the other 20 fuckers in it.
Well, that's what I was about to mention. Later on in the NWO career, they actually had the NWO B team music.
Yeah, but there is an alternative to that theory, though. Is someone in the group having their own theme song that's quote unquote the leader. X-Pac had his own theme song, and he was nowhere near the leader of DX. So that sometimes doesn't add up.
That's true, but I really love his DX music. X-Pac! Boom, boom, make some noise.
So we're at number 5, right?
Number 5.
All right. Some choices in my top 5 are going to be, I think to you guys might be a little bit controversial. You guys might not agree with some of these, but my number 5 is Bray Wyatt.
Oh no, his the first
The catching flies.
Yeah. No, it fits fits him to a T. The lights off and the glowing.
And I know people say that his whole character was just like a rehash of like Waylon Mercy or whatever. Absolutely not. He's 10 times the character that Waylon Mercy was. He's better on the mic, better in the ring. You know, I love Dan Spivey, but he's just better in every aspect.
Oh yeah.
But that song it's just a great song. It doesn't even have to be for a wrestler. It's just a great song.
Yeah.
And it's creepy as shit. It fit the whole group, not just him, everybody coming out. And especially when you add in what they did with the holding the lantern and the we're here, and then you hear the dum, 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 dum. You hear
the bass line.
Yeah, it's such a great song that in this era, I think his song fit him better than anybody else's song fit them.
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, in this era,
Made the character.
I definitely agree with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my number 4 was mentioned before, and this is the Horseman mid-'90s one.
Yeah.
Everything that you said is the reason why I like it. It started off as kind of like a solo Arn Anderson thing, but Arn Anderson was so significant with the Horseman that when Pillman came aboard and Flair, and they kind of got back together in 95 and eventually brought in Benoit to the group, this became like when they came out, this was their theme song. It was so, it was so good that like I said, Arn was so significant with the Horsemen that even when you just use his theme, it represents all the Horsemen.
Right.
So yeah, I love that music. I liked the horses, like when they redid it for the bringing Flair back, and Flair cussed out Bischoff, called him a son of a bitch and everything else, blah blah blah.
Fire me! I'm already fired.
Yeah, that was cool, but I mean this one was full peak bad guy Horseman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I like it.
I understand that. My number 4 is Chris Jericho, Break the Walls Down. I don't think there's anybody from the 2000s where, I guess technically 99's when he made his debut, where it fit the character. Like, as soon as you hear the boom, 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 break the walls down, it sent goosebumps. Like, his debut on Raw against The Rock. The music made that moment.
And I think the sound effect with the countdown
with
it at the beginning, I think that added to it, made it even better.
Yeah, I love the countdown part to it. Later on, you had other adaptations of it. And I just think it fit Chris Jericho to a T. I mean, even to the point where, they re-edited a lot of his older shit from WCW with that fucking entrance. Probably because they couldn't get the copyrights to the old stuff.
But see, that song was so good that he could use it again. He could use that as a face or a heel. He didn't have to change the song to adapt to a different personality. Right. He could just keep using the same song.
And as many times as he came back during his career, he used that song more than he used any other song.
Right.
Because it's so recognizable.
Right. It's just perfect for him. And I'm going to go ahead and mention WWF Forcible Entry again. Seven Dust did a cover of it, and it's fucking badass. I love that cover of Chris Jericho's.
I mean, has Seven Dust ever done anything that's not badass?
No. I don't think it's in them to write anything bad.
My number 4 is the Ministry Undertaker theme.
I almost put that in mine.
To me, while not the most iconic Undertaker theme, I think that it's the most metal, it's the most badass as a song to listen to. When he was going from the Mortician to more of like an Angel of Death kind of thing, when he was with the Ministry, when he grew the little pointed goatee, when he was putting people on crosses and stuff, walking out with just a gang of acolytes, that song was it was the shit. I loved hearing that song. I wished he would have used it longer than he did. He had a very short run with that song. But you ask any Undertaker fan, and 9 out of 10 are going to say that's their favorite version of any Undertaker song.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's my favorite Undertaker theme song.
Was that ever covered on? Was that ever covered by a band on an album? Did anybody ever do that and put lyrics to it?
I don't think so.
I thought that would have been badass if they did. Like put some lyrics to it.
No, I don't think they ever did. I know there was like 2 different versions, you know, because it was that tweener Taker right before he became Ministry, and
Right,
it was
yeah.
it was a little bit more faster, you know.
Yeah.
And then when the Ministry came, it was slowed down a little bit, and
It was
that's
heavier.
Yeah, but yeah, it went from like a like you know Iron Maiden song to a fucking Black Sabbath song type
Right,
of deal.
and when that almost orchestral part kicks in, like
Yeah.
midway through it, yeah, it's
And
beautiful.
plus, you know, hearing him like talking the song like in tongues and shit like
Yeah.
that was always
and that
bad.
evil laugh
Yeah.
that's in the middle of it. Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. As far as like the Undertaker goes, the American Badass first version with Kid Rock, I fucking thought it fit the American Badass character to a T. I like
Yeah.
it better than the Limp Bizkit version and the "You've Done It Now." I hate that goddamn song.
The Big Evil.
Yeah, the Big Evil song.
I don't particularly like the one with the words.
Fuck you, monster maggot, magnet, maggot,
Yeah,
magnet.
I don't like the one with the words at all. But the instrumental, like just the, you know, the drum and stuff, that's fine. But
Yeah, I really thought the whole when they said "Dead Man Walking" and then you hear Limp Bizkit, it's like
Yeah.
that made no sense to me. It's like I don't
I'm-
want to wear baggy jeans and go
Right.
to a lowrider after hearing
Like
"Dead Man
it's
Walking."
like the Kid Rock one where it's like when it's like starts with the girls. He's here. It's like then it goes straight to the.
are you scared?
Yeah, are you scared?
Yeah, that was great.
Fucking brutal. Love that song.
Well, we're down to the top 3 guys.
Number 3.
Will we have any in common?
Probably not.
My number 3. Here comes the axe, and here comes the smasher, the demolition, walking disaster. Fucking demolition.
LOD. Oh. I'm kidding.
Fuck, retard.
You're a retard.
Rip off.
Yeah, demolition. I don't really care what anybody thinks about them. Their music was fucking awesome.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of them. Fucking LOD ripoffs.
Yeah, retarded. But
You're
anyway,
fucking retarded.
Here.
No, fuck you.
Well,
if it wasn't for LOD, no, fuck you. I fucking
look.
hate you.
They might have been LOD ripoffs, but they totally stole all of their wrestling equipment from Rob Halford's closet.
Absolutely, and LODs. Fuck them. There's nothing original about them.
Their finisher was original.
Fuck that thing. It's no fucking
This is
doomsday device.
Just a
Absolutely
hater.
not. But
The
no,
hater.
getting back to the song, Todd, go ahead.
I like it.
Fuck you.
No, I like it. It was one of those theme songs where, again, you know, back in that day, everybody had a distinctive sound, and Demolition, far and above, had the most metal song, not name Ultimate Warrior.
It had a guitar solo in it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
it
true.
was pretty metal for the time.
Yeah, I just like it. I mean, it fits that, you know, they came out in about, 87, 88. You know, metal was pretty much, you know, that's the way metal was kind of sounding at that time.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I've always liked it. I mean, I've always enjoyed it when it came on.
All right. My number 3 is actually
Not Demolition?
not Demolition. God damn it. It's actually Seth Rollins' Burn It Down.
That song sucks.
That song doesn't suck.
That song is fucking ass.
No, it's not. How can you say that?
Burn it down. Which version?
The first version.
That
the
one
heavy
sucks, too.
No, it didn't.
It
You're full of
sucked.
shit. You're just being a fucking hater.
Well, you were being a hater a minute ago to Demolition.
Fuck Demolition.
No, I actually like Seth Rollins.
Yeah, no, the original one, like where it was like really heavy and started off with the breakdown, like burn it down. It actually had like words and shit to it. That version, not this newer weird version that just keeps repeating "burn it down" the whole goddamn time. But I thought it fit his character very well. Like when he separated from the Shield, you know, a lot better than they didn't give Roman Reigns or Dean.
Roman kept
Roman
the
kept the
Shield.
Shield song
Yeah,
for
Roman-
a long time.
yeah,
They
Roman
modified
kept-
it.
Yeah,
It's
What
new
was-
now.
what was Dean Ambrose's shit?
I can't remember.
Me neither.
I mean, like I'd have to actually look it up because I've totally drawn a blank on it because
Yeah,
he's
fuck
just
Moxley.
he's just not memorable.
Yeah, nothing. Fucking turd. Anyway,
Yeah, there's nothing memorable about John Moxley.
yeah, no. Or Dean Ambrose. Sorry. Actually, he's better as Dean Ambrose than he was Moxley.
Yeah.
Anyway.
My number 3 is Shinsuke Nakamura.
Nice.
Oh, that's a good one.
Like the time now we've seen him live and
Yeah.
at an NXT show, and when that violin comes on, you know, remember when the guy came out and played the violin?
Yeah,
for
that
him?
was fucking badass.
I mean, back in the 80s and the 90s, every Japanese wrestler came out, and they all had the same generic, boring, Oriental type theme music.
Yeah.
And it's like they can't have any developing characteristics if they all come out to the same music. It's like
Right.
insert random Japanese guy here. And when they brought him over, they knew exactly what they wanted to do with him. They gave him distinctive Japanese / rock / metal type theme music,
Right.
as an instrumental, and it got the crowd going. It's an instrumental song, but the crowd sings the sound of the song.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
he comes out.
If you can ever get the crowd involved, you've got a banger and you've got a
I
winner.
mean, how many songs can you think of that have no words, but the crowd actually sings to it? The only other one I could think of in the last 10 or 15 years was Fandango.
Yeah.
That Sammy, people get behind Sammy's. I don't even know if he uses it anymore.
Sammy Guevara?
No, Sammy fucking Zayn.
Oh, Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sammy Zayn.
Yeah, Nakamura's music was so over, they had to re-record it with words so the crowd would not sing along because he was a heel.
Right.
Right. That's how good the music was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
just phenomenally beautiful music.
Well, my number 2 on
It
the list...
sucks.
No, it doesn't. No, my number 2 on the list is the entire NWO music from WCW. Yeah, it was such a big part of my childhood. I mean,
In
yeah,
NWO.
we heard it 50 times a show, but those early days of hearing it, though, it was unlike any fucking thing that WCW had. You know, because like we said, during that time, a lot of people had like these cookie cutter generic music, and then NWO came along and it's like, what is this shit? I mean, it sounded different to present something different.
Right.
And I thought that was perfect.
Did you like it better when they added in the voiceovers, like you heard Macho Man and you heard that? Did you like it better after that?
Well, you know, if you listen closely, they would play the NWO music, but depending on who came out was what they played. If it was Savage, you heard the "oh yeah." If it was Scott Hall, you heard the "too sweet" in the background and stuff like that. If you pay attention to stuff
Yeah.
like that, and that's just little details that I don't think most people caught on to.
Yeah.
But like, if I heard that music and I heard the little sound bite in it, I knew who was coming out.
Right.
Like, I caught on to it. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's definitely an iconic one. Definitely a part of my childhood. I'm kind of going with theme songs that just, I guess I could put it like on a playlist and listen to. So my number 2 is actually Motorhead the Game. It just fit Triple H's character to a T. You can't not think of Triple H when you hear Motorhead, and you can't think of Motorhead when you see Triple H.
I mean, it's his favorite band.
I mean, rightfully so. I mean, Lemmy is the fucking man. Not to mention, you know, the intro was so big and popular. He got him to do the Evolution theme
The
song
Evolution,
too.
you
The
mean?
Evolution.
Evolution. Evolution is the mystery.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with Motorhead. I know he wanted something different. He didn't want to go with like Ace of Spades and stuff like that. So, and that honestly, the game by Motorhead is one of my top favorite Motorhead songs. Period. So, I can't remember if they made it for Triple H first and then the album came after, and then it was on the Motorhead album.
I think they made it for Triple H first.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, because I don't remember it being on the Motorhead album.
I'm pretty sure at the time the reason I bought that Motorhead album was because it was on there.
Yeah, same here. But yeah, it's just one of those like iconic theme song now, you know. And plus, Triple H needed something big and heavy when he departed from DX, because I mean, you know, the DX theme song's iconic itself. So he needed something with a big bang and a big punch, and what better rock and roll / metal band than Motorhead.
Yeah, when he first left DX, though, he had that really synthed over song that everybody hates. You know, that "Hit Me With That Triple H." Remember that song? Yeah, and everyone hated that song. I didn't mind it as much, but a lot of people said that was absolutely his worst theme song ever.
I liked it when it got going. It was like that part was cool, but it was very overdone, and you know.
Yeah,
I believe it was the same dudes that did the DX music, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sounded like it.
Yeah, it was. So, but yeah, Motorhead.
My number 2, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it because it's already been mentioned, and we've already had one temper tantrum. It's Demolition.
I'm kidding.
You goddamn right it's Demolition.
It used to be my number 1.
Diddley turns black and falls in the crapper.
And it was my number 1 for years and years and years and years, because if you even do the research, it was the first ever metal theme song for a wrestler. It's the first one ever, okay? And it's the first one that ever had a guitar solo in it, and while they might not be the greatest tag team, you know, they're not super technical in the ring, they're rip-off characters, to me, their theme song was better than they were as a team. The song was just great. Even on its own, just taking the wrestlers out of it, it's just a great song.
Right. I mean, I agree with that, you know.
Well, my number one.
Wonderful.
Mine is the Legion of Doom. What a rush.
What a rush.
So can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
When I told our friend Casey that we were doing this, I told him that was going to be your number 1, and I had no idea that it was. I thought you were going to pick the Horseman theme, but then I told him, I was like, no. I said, he's such an LOD fan, he's got to go with that.
Yeah. Again, you know, LOD is my favorite tag team, and the whole reason why you have the Road Warriors pop, I think, that carried over to WWF is because of that theme music. They were already big in Crockett. They were already big in WCW before they came to WWF. But when they came to WWF, the thing that sent them over the top was the badass music. That music plays, and then you have a whole country who might not have seen these dudes before. They come out in the face paint, the fucking spikes, and everything else. People were like, wait a minute, you mean I'm supposed to cheer these guys? And they indeed were good guys. You know,
they were in Crockett, they used Iron Man as a theme song.
Yeah,
right?
they had the Iron Man thing, which
would
you know,
be too easy to put at number 1.
Yeah, that would be too easy. That'd be
Right,
like putting, you know, Walk by, you know, for Rob Van Dam, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Jim Johnson What a Rush thing, they redone them, you know, for LOD 2000, and I don't think it was ever captured that moment ever again. But that first early 90s LOD, I mean...
Yeah, it definitely fit the team, you know. Definitely brutal sounding, you know. Very dark and sludgy, just like they are in the ring. You know, very badass, you know. Like, when you heard that song, shit was going down.
So what's your number 1, James?
My number 1 is by a lot of people's least favorite wrestler right now, CM Punk. The Killswitch Engage, this fire that was made for him, I believe during his ECW, like when he came to ECW, is when they gave him that song.
Yeah, it's when he first came into the not only ECW but in the entire company.
Right. And that whole group of ROH guys that just got me back into professional wrestling, Joe, AJ, Christopher Daniels, Punk, and when I heard that, I was like, holy shit, that's Killswitch Engage, which is one of my favorite metalcore bands of all time. And it just fit the character, you know, as soon as you hear the wow, it just fit him, you know, the straight edge gimmick, the hardcore character. It was just a perfect match, you know. Later on he would get, you know, Cult of Personality, which fits him a lot better now than, you know, this fire by Killswitch back then, but for the time period, you know, it was the best for him. But
plus, I think it started a whole category of guys getting real bands to do their music.
Yeah, because, you know, then you had like Christian when he redid his music, like Story of the Year singer came in and helped write that.
Close Your Eyes.
Yeah, Close Your Eyes. Dolph Ziggler, I can't remember the name of his. The Miz, like
Randy Orton,
Seth Rollins. Like WWE started going like a more heavier metal like intro route, and I feel like that was kind of the jumping point with Killswitch. Like, oh, I want music like that.
Yeah, I think the company found it more probably time consuming just to get a real metal band to do somebody's music than to have their own music guy and make music, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like the complete opposite of like when Forcible Entry came out. Like they took the theme song and then redid it like with a real band.
Right.
So instead of doing that, they just got the real band just to do the theme song altogether.
Right. Which
So-
is probably why they, you know, why Jim Johnson isn't there anymore.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
But, you know, they have some pretty good intro songs, though. I mean,
So one aspect about these lists that I find interesting is your number one, James, was not on either one of our top 10 lists.
yeah,
Todd's number one was not on either one of our top 10 lists.
yeah,
And my number one is not on either one of your top 10 lists.
that doesn't surprise me.
Okay, my number one is from a guy who never made it out of the mid-card. He, as far as I remember, never won even, I think, more than maybe a hardcore title in the WWE. And he wasn't around very long, but his theme song is my absolute favorite theme song of all time.
Ooh, I know.
What is
Maybe.
it? Who is it?
Crash Holly,
Steve Blackman.
Incorrect.
Damn it.
Ken Shamrock.
Incorrect.
Shit.
My number one theme song of all time is Gangrel, the
Oh,
Brood theme.
that was going to be my honorable mention.
That's a goodie.
I love that song. I love the gimmick, you know, coming out with Edge and Christian, one of my favorite tag teams of all time. I just thought that it was so creepy, and to me, it sounded like something that an actual vampire would come out to.
Yeah.
And the way that he came up through the stage with the fire, holding the goblet with the blood, I mean, he was that character. And, you know, he had a great finisher. Back
The Impaler.
Back then, when he was actually in shape and gave a damn, he was actually a really good wrestler.
I love Gangrel.
But his theme song has always stuck with me. It had a really cool funk rock vibe to it.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of those theme songs that you love. You love it, and it doesn't matter if he came out and was cheered or booed. It was just a great song for either character.
Right.
And I've loved that song ever since the first time I heard it.
It was one of my honorable mentions, honestly. But
It's a goodie.
talk about some theme songs we didn't name that are very iconic, or just, you know, fits the character. I think you'd have to mention the Hardy Boys.
Yeah,
No.
I think you would. You
I
know,
thought
for
yeah.
our generation, yeah, it's an iconic song, but
Wow.
wasn't the Hardy Boys song wasn't that one of like the generic things that they had like in a scrap pile and they just gave it to them and,
Yeah.
and it stuck?
Kind of
Yeah.
like Hardcore Holly's music. Like, that's on the fucking opening screen to Chainsaw 3.
Or Big
Yeah.
Boss Man. Big Boss Man's theme when he was with the Ministry when he came out.
Dun, dun.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3D, Dudley Boys, like the WWE stuff.
Yeah. Drop the bomb.
Get up, drop the bombshell.
I got one you guys might not agree with, but when I think of a song that fits a character and a guy that went through a transformation for his character unlike probably any other is Goldust.
Yeah.
His song really fit, especially
Yeah.
when they used the camera and they made it with the light, they made everything gold. He was kind of like it coming down in slow motion, and I think the song really fit, especially in that era.
Right.
Yeah. Always liked Razor's music.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, that one. Always liked Jake's music. I thought Jake's was pretty good.
Yeah,
Fit his
Jake's was
character.
cool.
I liked his evil heel.
Yeah, that one was good too.
All right, well, how about this? Let's throw a little bit of a monkey wrench in. What's a song that you hate, that you don't like?
Oh, Flash! You are so funky! That
Oh.
fucking sucks.
That is fucking terrible.
Especially when they took the fucking camera and they showed Vince McMahon dancing. Like, that was,
Oh, man.
like, we have the NWO throwing people through fucking trailers like darts on the other show, and here it is, your fucking owner dancing to a fucking disco song. Like, no wonder why you fucking lost at that time.
What, 83 weeks in a row, something like that? What
Yeah.
was it? Yeah.
Disco Fever. God damn that song.
Disco fever!
Fuck that. Oh my. Fuck Disco Inferno too. Piece of shit.
Well,
Yeah.
on the contrary,
Mid card turd.
Flash Funk was sucks, but Too Cold Scorpio was great.
Two Cold Scorpio is awesome.
Yeah.
Too cold.
So-
I
Pretty dope.
always hated Carlito's song.
Oh god.
Exactly. I don't want to hear someone hawking a loogie in the middle of at the beginning of the
God.
song. It's like I thought that was stupid.
Fucking hated Heidenreich's music. No, he didn't write. Oh, he didn't write.
Oh, here's another honorable mention I thought was really cool
Shit.
from a character that was very short-lived. I thought that when Alex Wright was Berlin, I thought he had great music.
Yeah.
That was a great song.
That was pretty dope.
Yeah, he fits into the other category when he was straight up like the German disco fucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hated Right to Censor's music.
Does that even count as music? It
That was
like
just a
smoke alarm.
noise.
It was a smoke alarm.
I mean, modern day fucking country music sounds the same to me.
So would Earthquake's music sound? Would that count as music? Because that's
No.
I don't think that would either. Because it was just like
Dog shit. Scott Steiner.
The siren.
Yeah.
Holler if you hear me.
there's that Scott Steiner that I love.
Yeah.
Ah,
How fast can you do math, Todd?
I
Scott
suck
Steiner
at
math.
I suck at both.
No, he's retarded like me. Fucking Cesaro's music is the same. Gave him some fucking sirens. He
Yeah.
always had. Even when I tried to give him better music, it was still fucking.
There's a lot of guys that have sirens. Saturn had sirens.
Yeah, that's right.
Is there anybody in AEW that you like their music?
I don't
Ooh,
know.
CM Punk's. It's the same.
I mean, look, if
You can't knock it.
if you're a Fozzy fan, you kind of have to like Jericho's song.
I mean, yeah.
I
it
don't
fits.
know any of their music. I don't watch the show, so I don't know any. I mean, I think I know Sting's maybe.
Well, you've heard Jericho's song, right?
Oh yeah.
Well,
Come
fucking-
up, come up, come up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jungle Boys is the fucking what is that fucking band? It's an actual song.
I don't watch it enough to know.
This actually has like you got it for that one fucking ooh part.
Oh, you know who else has the same music?
Hmm.
Brian Danielson.
it's they turn it into a rap song.
Well, yeah, but it's the same premise, you know.
Yeah, but his I'd rather have his WWE music. Moxley comes out to Wild Thing. Yeah,
Which version?
Well,
I
he
can't
came out to
remember.
Wild Thing in Japan. I don't know if he kept it and came out in AEW.
I thought he kept it.
I don't know, but
Give me a minute.
I think we can all agree, though, that the Young Bucks music sucks.
Fuck the Young Bucks.
I think the Young Bucks suck.
Suck each other.
Like,
Them.
how can you have two fucking Marty Jannetty's?
I don't know, but they do it. Fuck them and their receding hairline.
As a matter of fact, Marty Jannetty was better than both of them.
James, we're both bald.
I don't give a fuck. Fuck them. Jungle Boy by Jack Perry.
Jack Perry is
It's
Jungle, Boy.
My bad. I misread that. Fuck it. Fuck it.
So he wrote and performed his own song?
Tarzan Boy is what I meant. The song's Tarzan Boy.
Oh. Who sings it? Who performs it? You said it was a real band, right?
Yeah, hang on. I'm looking it up.
Wow.
All right, so while he's looking that up, Todd, what would you say is your favorite live performance of a theme song?
That's a goodie. Probably when Motorhead performed for at WrestleMania 17 and Triple H came out, I thought that was pretty dope.
It's pretty dope.
Yeah, I like that one.
Didn't Limp Bizkit open up for somebody?
Limp Bizkit, Fred Durst came out and sung at WrestleMania 18. Let's see here. Of course, you mentioned the violin dude for Shinsuke Nakamura earlier. They did a really good job. Anytime Nia Stratus does her thing with the guitar, like for NXT shows, she does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
When do you think that the WWE will quit inviting Flo Rida to shows to perform? Because he sucks.
They should have fucking not started it. Because by the time they got him to come and do, I mean, he was like 5 years past due his fucking date.
Yeah.
Who is this fucking guy? Oh, Flo Rida. Oh, they're in Florida.
Florida.
Oh. I guess.
Yeah, does anybody even still listen to him anymore?
Did
Yeah.
anybody ever listen to him?
I mean, I'm sure someone's dumb enough to listen to him.
The Young Bucks. They look like they listened to
Oh,
him.
here's another theme song that was awful.
Kenny Omega.
Brodus Clay. Somebody call my mama.
Oh my god.
Or how about Viscera, the world's largest sex machine?
Oh my god. What about Mark Henry?
Mark Henry's was fucking gold.
Both of his were gold. Sexual chocolate
Sexual,
was gold,
baby.
and then the someone is going to get the ass.
Yeah, I like both
Gold.
of them.
Someone's gonna get that. Well, I was actually
Get
by
the wig
fucking
split.
get their wig split. What was it by? Fucking 3-6 Mafia did his shit.
Was it really?
It was either 3-6 Mafia or one of the two from 3-6 Mafia, like Juicy J or some shit like that.
Yeah, I like both of his.
It's pretty dope. I mean, you can sit there and say like everybody from ECW had a pretty dope theme.
You know, you got to give credit to these guys that actually did their own theme song.
Oh god.
Well, no, first one that comes to mind.
HBK.
Well, yeah, but another one that comes to mind, I guess, then is John Cena, Doctor of Thugonomics.
Oh god.
Or how about the guys who've done their own theme song live, like Road Dogg, the Outlaws.
Oh yeah.
Good point.
Oh,
I
you
mean-
didn't know?
New Day does it now because of the Outlaws. So
Yeah, that's true.
But, you know, I think that all three of us can agree that the wrestling theme songs and the music that's involved with the sport entertainment that we grew up watching, that we love, has had a huge impact on us. That
Absolutely.
the fact that we can make our own playlist of just wrestling theme songs and sit and just listen to it for hours. Listen to it while you're at the gym, on a road trip or whatever. It's one of those things that if you're a real wrestling fan, it sticks with you forever.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I brought up Forcible Entry so much, because I played the death out of that album to the point where I couldn't play it anymore and I had to rebuy it because it got so scratched up. Because I just, it got me into a lot more heavier bands.
Yeah. And, we talked earlier about recycled theme music. Of course, Goldberg's theme music, Pat Tanaka came out to that before Goldberg did.
Really?
In
I
WCW.
never knew that.
Well, you had to watch WCW main event on Sundays to even see
who did
wrestle.
that?
Yeah, I did. Kurt Angle.
Loser.
Before Kurt Angle, that was the Patriots music.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, I knew that one.
So, sometimes, you just got to give it to the right guy that it fits. The guy was called the Patriot, but I can't think of him coming out to that music. I think Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, sometimes it's just a good marriage, comes together.
And kudos to the crowd for helping him get over with the whole "You
suck"
chant.
Oh, yeah.
Going with that music. That helped him get over tenfold.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and you know that it's over because quite recently, or in the past couple of years, MMA fighter Kobe Covington came out to that, and the fucking crowd chanted "You suck" with it.
Yeah.
And if they didn't know who Kurt Angle was, they didn't know what professional wrestling was, they wouldn't have known to do that.
Right, and think about how
Izzy-
long it's been since that song was actually relevant, and the MMA fans still remember it. As
Yeah,
a song.
that was only 2 or 3 years ago, and Kurt left the company in 2007. So,
Yeah. And that's the thing. The mixed martial arts community, whether they want to admit it or not, 90% of them are mixed martial art fans.
because they're wrestling fans.
Because they're wrestling fans. That's what I was trying to say. Anyway,
Izzy came out to the whole Undertaker gimmick thing with the urn and everything. With the
the
hat.
music, the hat, the urn. All of y'all are you were fucking marks at one time, whether you want to admit it or not.
There were a couple people that has come out to Real American.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with liking pro wrestling. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of professional fighters gained a lot of popularity because they took the influence of pro wrestling and applied it to mixed martial arts.
Yeah, a lot of people's first love is not mixed martial arts. It's professional wrestling that leads them into wanting to do more.
Well, especially in our generation, because if you think like when I was a kid, all right, the UFC started when I was 9 years old.
Right.
Okay, in '93. So
you were already deep into wrestling.
Right.
Yeah.
So my generation, they grew up with wrestling because there was no mixed martial arts at the time. You could only find that in Japan and Brazil. So you grew up with wrestling, and back then, kayfabe was still real. So a lot of kids still thought it was real. So you start out with that, and then as you grow up and mature, you realize what wrestling is, that it's entertainment, and you're more drawn to MMA because it's legitimate competition. You're going in, two guys are going to hit each other for real, and there's going to be a winner. One guy is better than another guy, and that I really feel like most of your MMA fans now, I'd say probably 90% of your real hardcore MMA fans started out as pro wrestling fans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention, we had guys like Ken Shamrock and Dan Severn who were big in the UFC days, and all of a sudden they're on fucking WWF television.
Yeah. Winning titles.
And we
having damn good matches, too.
Yeah, and we have Jim Ross telling us where they came from.
Yeah.
At one time, they were co-promoting UFC pay-per-views. You know what I mean? So, And of course, you have pro wrestlers now. Aleister Black, you mentioned him earlier. His whole fucking deal is,
Muay Thai mixed martial
kicks
arts.
and elbows and all that came from mixed martial arts.
Even a guy as significant as the Undertaker at one time was wearing MMA gloves.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah, when
doing
he came back.
He was doing MMA submission holds.
The Hell's Gate.
Exactly. So that influence is always there. And then you got Brock Lesnar, who, I mean, let's be honest, he's the biggest star that's ever competed in both. He's a bigger star than Ken Shamrock. He's a bigger star than Dan Severn. And he was the heavyweight champion of the world in wrestling and in the UFC. And his whole gimmick is, I'm a big, tough badass, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna suplex you as many times as I want.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got hands the size of lunchboxes, and if he didn't hate getting hit himself so much, he was still physically able to because of the diverticulitis. He'd probably still be fighting to this day.
Right. So what we're saying to the MMA fighters, get some good entrance music and a good gimmick. You'll get over, kid.
Yeah. I, for one, we're all wrestling fans. We're all MMA fans. And if you come out to some memorable music or something to really stand out, we're going to remember you from that card.
Yeah.
Like no shit. If you get in there and you knock somebody out, we're going to be like, hey, that's that dude that knocked him out, and he came out to Bob Seger.
Right. So think about when all of us really started, getting into mixed martial arts, when we used to start watching it together. Certain guys had theme songs that they would come out to every single fight. Now, a lot of guys mix it up. They come out to something different every fight.
Yeah.
Like Anderson came out to Ain't No Sunshine, and Chuck Liddell came out to DMX.
Yeah. Vandalay, Desert Storm.
And Rich Franklin came out to For Those About to Rock by AC/DC.
Yeah. Matt Hughes, Country Boy.
Right. You had
Metallica by Brock.
You had these guys
Brock came out to Metallica Enter Sandman.
Yeah, they came out to the same song every single fight. And there's not a lot of guys now that do that. Colby Covington is one that comes out to the same song every time.
Yeah.
It's like, obviously you know where you are on the card when you're watching it. You know who it's going to be. But now it's like, who is this based on the song? You don't know who it is.
Yeah, that's true.
There's nothing to connect them to the song anymore.
Yeah, I think MMA would benefit if everybody chooses a theme song and kind of sticks with it. I think that, there's so many interchangeable guys coming in and out. Half of them you can't even say their fucking names anymore. They're from Brazil, they're from here, they're from there.
The Russians.
Yeah. But if you had, a significant theme song, maybe, that's how I knew it. How in the fuck have I been watching wrestling since I was 2-3 years old, and every theme song I heard, I knew exactly who was going to come through that curtain.
Right.
I think that MMA could benefit that. If I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's that Russian dude coming out now.
Yeah, that's why I think back in the day, a lot of Pride events were more memorable than UFC events, because back then those guys came out to the same songs.
Yeah.
And the Japanese fans, they only cheered before the fight. So when the song came on, they cheered. But when the fight was on, they were dead silent. That's just the way the Japanese fans are.
Right.
Yeah, but once again, Pride took a lot of its influences from
the pro wrestling world.
From the pro wrestling world.
they were
New Japan, All Japan, Noah. They took the physical aspects of it and the theatrics from it and applied it to, we'll say, real fighting, but we know some of those were fucking rigged fights in Pride. Hate to say it, huge mixed martial arts fan. But anyway, regardless, they took the aspects and everything that made pro wrestling great, but was here's the real fight versus the other stuff. So I just thought of another member of DX that had their own theme song, Mr. Ass.
Mr. Ass did have his own theme song.
Yeah,
Every member
I'm
of
an ass
DX,
man. Ow, ow.
every member of DX had their own theme at
Did
one time.
Did China have one while she was in DX or after she left DX?
I think she
It was after, right?
Yeah, because remember she turned on him and went with the corporation.
Yeah.
Don't treat me like a woman.
Well, that was when.
You're a man, bitch.
Well, that song is very very fitting for the times that we're in now. Don't you think,
Yeah,
James?
her and her fucking ham wallet that could crush a energy drink.
She was a non-binary fucking brutal force machine.
Amazon woman with a huge clitoris.
Sean Waltman knows all about it.
Ew, one night in China.
If I wasn't on drugs, I wouldn't have done that.
Hey, man. Come here, bud.
Yeah.
Sandworms. Hate them.
She had a goddamn sandworm.
She had a sandworm in her fucking trousers.
R.I.P.
This is, anyway, we appreciate y'all tuning in. It's been real. It's been fun. We want to thank our special guest, Brandon. Probably have him back later episodes.
I'd love to come back if you'll have me.
Absolutely.
It was awesome.
Todd, say something. Shut up.
And Demolition, that song rules.
Yeah. It sucks. Thank you for listening to a Strong Style podcast. Until next time, take it easy.